Welcome to The Communicator, your quick journey into the world of chemical engineering. I'm Amanda Sabrino, AQ Student Development Officer. Whether you're a ChemE or just curious, join us as we make chemical engineering exciting and accessible. Time to catalyze some great conversations. Let's go! Hi, my name is Amanda Sabrino.
And I'm Isabella Villanueva, and this is The Communicator.
Today we're here with Professor Mei. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. Just a general conversation. I have had just the distinct pleasure of having a career over 35 years. So it's a lot of years to cover, but I can summarize. So about 35 years of primarily consumer goods experience. I've worked with multinational companies like Procter & Gamble, Nike, Coca-Cola, Philips, and Beiersdorf. And I've also done a B2B company, the Dow Chemical Company. And then I went all the way to the other side and did an entrepreneurial company, worked for a startup. So I was the CEO for Gathered Foods, which was a 100% plant-based seafood brand called Good Catch. And so, my experience really is founded in general management and strategy and marketing, sales and operations. I've had the joy of being able to go all over the world for my work, and I actually lived overseas and worked overseas for about 12 years. But it all started here on campus. I am a ChemE alum, and actually when I was a senior, my senior design professor was Dr. McKetta.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so it was a fabulous experience. So long history, happy to dig into, whatever you want to dig into. Oh, the only other thing that I would say is today, I serve on 2 boards, so I do a lot of board and advisory work, and I have the pleasure of teaching an entrepreneurship class in the fall.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to start with, you do not do what a traditional ChemE, I guess, sets out to think that they would do. So we're going to ask you about your MBA.
Yeah.
And how did you really decide you wanted to go for that and go into business administration after your undergrad?
What a great question. So when I was an undergraduate, I was actually pre-med. And so I had to figure out, how do you become more efficient with putting your classes together without adding a lot more time and getting all your prerequisites out of the way. And so I figured out that being a ChemE was the best way to combine all this because your electives could be the sciences, that would be required for pre-med. So the only elective that I had that was pre-med requirements was self-paced psychology. And the only business class that I had was, I think it was called Economic Analysis for Unit Operations. So not real, businessy. I ended up not going to med school. And my first job out of school was with Procter & Gamble. It was with the Folger Coffee Company. So I was a process engineer, and I worked in the instant department. And I had all of the instant processes. There were 5 different mini departments underneath the department. And we were the world's decaffeination site. And so anything Folgers, if it was regular, whatever the product was, if it had a decaf partner, it was done out of our plant. And that was in Sherman, Texas. And so we did all kinds of innovations. And, being in supply chain, you get the pressure of the business coming down and saying, get it out. It's like, you've got to be able to launch this thing. There's no excuses. But we were doing new to the world stuff, right? And so it's not like you just turn it on and it happens, right? You have to experiment your way. You have to, change knobs, settings, variables, whatever. And sometimes it didn't work. And so you would say, okay, well, we're a little bit delayed. We've got this issue. We need some time to address that issue. And the business would always say, I don't want to hear it. We just got to get it up. Just do it. And one of the curiosities I had was, how do people come up with these crazy ideas? And why do they not want to listen to me? And so I decided I did not know what a debit or a credit was. Because I only had those, self-paced psychology and this, economic analysis class. So I didn't know what a debit or credit was. So I said, it's time. I'm going to go and learn what this debit and credit and this whole business kind of mentality is. So that's why I went to business school. And my summer internship between my first and second year, I decided not to do an engineering or a technical internship because I had a standing offer to go back. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go do something else. And so I said, I'm going to go experiment with marketing. And that's when I actually did marketing with P&G, but I did it in China.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
So as a summer intern, I launched Head & Shoulders.
Wow.
And it's done very well even to this day. It's done really well there. And so it wasn't that I didn't enjoy engineering. It wasn't that I didn't love, that experience. I just found that was more exciting and I had more of an affinity to some of the marketing that was done. But I've never not used the discipline that you have to have in your head. And I actually did go back into operations when I was in Coca-Cola. So, there was a full circle moment.
So this is kind of a tangent, but my mom also is a ChemE. She does marketing now.
See, smart woman.
And she tells me all the time, just go get your engineering degree because it teaches you how to think. Do 100%. You agree with that? Do you feel like you use that degree
Moms
all the
know
time?
best, Isa.
They do.
No, that's true. That's absolutely true. And, just also as a tangent, I have 3 children and they are all also 3 engineers. They're all graduated now and they have done some technical work, but they have all now advanced into more business-focused careers. But each one of them, and also including myself, would say that just this discipline of thinking, of being able to kind of go through a process and just be systematic about things as a baseline. It doesn't mean that you can't think creatively. It doesn't mean that you can't kind of brainstorm and come up with weird ideas.
Right.
But, engineers, they never shy away from a challenge. And that's the discipline of thinking, is that I'm just going to try to go after it. And if I run up against a wall this way, I'm going to try to figure it out that way.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Can I ask, at what point did you realize that you didn't want to be pre-med anymore?
Probably when I was a junior, right before I had to take the MCAT.
You're like, I
You're
can't
like,
do this, no.
The real reason why, and this is more of a personal kind of maybe profile of myself, is, I'm a little bit intense.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, I had always thought that I would, ever since I was little, I was a candy striper, I volunteered at a pediatrician's, office for a couple of summers. I always thought I was going to be a pediatrician. And then I kind of went on, it's like, maybe I want to be a neonatologist. And I recognized that, and again, this is me, my friends and family saying, we know you want to be a doctor, but this whole area of neonatology, you will never leave the hospital. You will never have the balance that you need for yourself because you will always be so committed to your patients. And so I have huge respect and admiration for those neonatologists. But it's some of this ethics kinds of questions of making decisions, because you are bound by the Hippocratic Oath to do whatever you can, obviously. And there's just, for me, it was just going to be more of a mental grapple with consequences, whether it's intended or unintended. And so I just felt like that was something that was the only kind of medicine that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't feel like I could really kind of dive in and do that, it was better for me to walk away from it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we read that your life philosophy is listen, learn, and connect with your heart. Only then can you lead with authentic passion. How has this philosophy guided you on your career, and how has it shaped what companies you felt like you gravitated towards when you were starting your entrepreneurial journey?
Oh, I love this question, so thank you for asking. So this philosophy actually came out of a training class that I did at Coca-Cola. So I spent almost 10 years with Coca-Cola. And what was really important at Coke was really kind of preparing your next generation of leaders. And I was invited to be part of a group that got together. So Coca-Cola has kind of got 2 arms. There's the company, which is really kind of around the brand strategy, and then there's the bottlers, which is they do a lot of the manufacture of the products. And so the system is company plus the bottlers equals the system. And so this training brought together these two arms of the Coca-Cola ecosystem. And so we were, I think it was 25 of us from 17 different countries that came together. And we spent 41 days together. Wow. So we were away from our families. We were also away from our jobs. And we had 88 learning modules. And these 88 learning modules took us to Atlanta, to Chicago, to Mexico City, and to India. We spent 2 weeks in India. A week in Mexico, 2 weeks in India.
Wow.
And the idea was for us to learn about developing countries, emerging countries, and developed countries, right? So that's why you had these different countries. And we did everything. I mean, we were back in, the convenience stores stacking cans. We went around with all of the different delivery trucks. We spent the full day. We dug fire trenches in the countryside of Mexico for community, just kind of community connections. And so it was a pretty intense experience. But at the end of that experience, we were asked to write down or to kind of think about what our leadership legacy statement is. So when I'm gone or when I leave any company, what is the legacy that I want to leave behind?
Yeah.
And so, for you guys, that's one of the things that you can think about is that, everything that you touch, what do you want that lasting imprint or that image that you want others to have? Not about kind of like a social image, but what is the impact that, you want to leave behind? And so that was the intent behind this. And so for me, it was listen, learn, and connect with your heart. Only then can you lead with authentic passion. So you break it down, you say, listen, because, listening's not just with your ears, right? We're talking, but you're looking at me, so you're also still listening. It's active listening, right? It's not just this, right? And learning is that, that's why we're talking, right? Because you need to learn like a sponge.
Yeah.
Because that's what curiosity is. And so you always want to have that in front of you, no matter how old you are, and no matter at what point in your career or your life you're in. Always be open to learning new things. And then connect, and you want to connect with this, right? Because when people are giving you, just the lip service. Right. But if people are really caring and they're invested in what you have to say or what you're doing, you're connecting. And so whether it's a professor, whether it's a colleague or a boss or a manager, you want to know that there is a connection there, because only then can you be authentic, right? We don't have time. We're just too busy to be around fake, games, that kind of. I don't have time for that.
Right.
So, you want to be around authenticity and you want to be around passion. And so when you have a leader, you want to be able to lead with authentic passion. So that's why it's listen, learn, and connect with your heart. And only then can you lead with authentic passion. Now, when I left Coca-Cola, I had this so important to me, because I told all of my teammates, if I don't demonstrate this behavior, tell me. Whether you are, no matter what level, I want to know. And so they were so kind when I left. They actually calligraphied it and framed it for me. And since then, that was in 2013, 2014. Oh, I wrote it in 2013. I left in 2014. And so it's been 11 years, right? So every office that I've been in, that framed statement has gone with me, and it's been on every office wall.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
So I carry it with me everywhere. So now it's still in my home office now. It's in my home office wall. So it is more than just a set of words. It's really what has guided me and how I want to make sure that I'm interacting with everybody that I come across.
Yeah, wow. It's a
That's
great
really cool.
practice.
Thank you
It's
for
been you through
sharing.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow. Okay. Do you want to ask that next question?
Yes. So specifically for Gathered Foods and Good Catch, what drew you to that company and what made you want to be a part of it?
So, I had all this big company experience, right? So I had all of this knowledge. But one of the, threads that I loved about it that experience was I was able to get into either new businesses or innovative kind of organizations. So it was really kind of working for a startup with the benefit of a safety net of a blue chip company.
Yeah.
And so what I thought I wanted to do is now galvanize all of this experience that I had and really kind of pour it into an entrepreneurial kind of endeavor. And I took some time to really think about, do I really want to do this? And, what would it be? Well, what would it look like? And it's not going to surprise you that, health and wellness has always been something that I'm pretty passionate about. But consumer goods has been my career this whole time.
Yeah.
So you kind of think of it as a funnel. So consumer goods, then what area? It's going to be health and wellness. Within health and wellness, what do I like? I like food and beverage. I did almost 10 years or over 10 years with Coke beverage. And so I thought I wanted to do a little bit more food. I actually led the global business for kitchen appliances for Philips. So I ate my way around the world, and I thought, okay, that was kind of fun. But I wanted to do something different in food, and I like white space. I kind of like doing things in uncharted territories. So I said, well, within the food white space, what is there? And I said, I think alternative protein would be really, really interesting to do. But at that time, beef was already being done, pork was being done, chicken was being done, just other was. But I had this opportunity to join some founders that were really pursuing 100% plant-based seafood. Mm-hmm. And so real seafood is pretty hard to cook.
Yeah.
Right. And so this was really fascinating for me. It was just a matter of really trying to get something new, keep more fish in the sea.
Yeah. Yes.
So be able to deliver environmental impact, so sustainability in mind, but also kind of thinking about the next generation of food safety and just the food ecosystem. Yeah. And so that's why I joined.
That's really cool.
This next question I'm actually very personally curious about, and it's kind of a generality, but everyone's answer is so different. Which place, so you've worked in a lot of different places, where would you say you learned the most? Or you feel like you grew the most?
I would say that every experience gives you growth. Mm-hmm. And it's what you decide that you're going to take away and apply that's going to be the most meaningful. Right. So one of the things that I would want to maybe count you to think about first is that, okay, as engineers, we like to plan.
Yes.
Right? Is that true? We like to plan. So it's great to try to plan your career and kind of think about what it is that you think that you want to do. Mm-hmm. And it's okay if you don't know exactly, but, general direction. But as you get into it, you should be able to pivot within reason if you feel like it's the right thing for you to do.
Right.
Now, said another way, is I was on a podcast once called The Stairway to CEO, because the Gathered Foods role, I was the CEO. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that we talked about was, well, is it just a straight progression? Is it like a ladder?
Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
And so if you think about stairways, can have split landings. They can be the spiral staircase. They can go up this way, and then go up. So there's all different kinds of stairways. So for your career, there's also all different kinds of ways to kind of progress. One of the things I would say that I've learned the most would be not just the technical parts of the assignments, but honestly, it's about the people and about the impact that my managers had on me by taking chances on me. So many different examples of that. But I think that the biggest one as a manager, and I try to take this, it's kind of in my leadership legacy statement too, it's coupled with that. It's about paying it forward. Mm-hmm. Every time that I've had a dilemma, you talk to your manager about it, and it has always been just very humbling to be able to sit with a manager and then do some creative problem solving. So I have been asked to move multiple times, and because of personal circumstances, I couldn't move, and so there was some creative creative options and creative opportunities that were made. I've also worked almost every work schedule known to man, and just had creative ways to address, or maybe I was based in Houston, but my job was somewhere else, and I would travel for it. There's just all different kinds of things, but I think that your original question, what did I learn the most? It was really about people.
Okay, great, thank you.
So over your career, you've made like a lot of pivots and gone in a lot of different directions. What made you want to become a professor after working in industry, and what did that process look like?
It has always been a dream of mine to be back in with the kids.
Yeah.
Right. My father is a professor, and my mom has also done postgraduate work. And it's just something that I have always wanted to do, always wanted to give back, always wanted to pay it forward. And it's kind of like me having the corporate career and then going into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Mm-hmm. It's very similar to being able to come back, because I will tell you that it's not I hope I'm giving something to the students, but I can definitely tell you I probably extract more value out of it. Just it's the other way. I think I get more out of it, as a professor, because I just learn so much, and you guys keep me current. You keep me young.
And going with that, do you want to tell us about your class that you teach in the fall?
Oh, sure. So I teach entrepreneurship for chemical engineers. Mm-hmm. So it's only done in the chemical engineering department, primarily for it is for upperclassmen. And the idea is around, first of all, I would say entrepreneurship is not just about new value creation, right? It's just a different way to view the world, and then be able to figure out how to get the skill sets to go conquer, right? And to go kind of create new opportunities, either for yourself or for society or for, your community, right? And so it requires, as we know, a lot of adaptability and resiliency. But you also need to be able to embrace technology. You need to have digital fluency. You need to have some business acumen. So this class is kind of a way to explore all of that in a safe environment, right? On the first day of my class, we talk about thinking like an engineer. And if you're an upperclassman, you've already made it through. I don't need to teach you how to do that. You already have. We talked about the discipline of thought. So my job is to help you sell like an entrepreneur. Yes. Right? And selling like an entrepreneur does not mean that you have to go start a business. What it means is that you need to understand some of the business essentials. You need to understand maybe a profile of what an entrepreneurial mindset is all about. And you can apply that not only if you want to start a new company, but also if you are in corporate and, you want to communicate something and you want to be compelling. Yeah. So the class really has a part of just learning some of the business fundamentals, right? But it's also experiential. Listen, learn, you heard that before, and do, right? And the do part is with group projects. And a group project is you get to actually create and start up your own theoretical company with a group. And you have to create a business model canvas and talk about a business model. And then ultimately you have to pitch, right? And that's the final. There are no tests in my class. But the midterm is your business model, and the final is the pitch, because it's about help me understand, make me care, and then get me to go do something.
Exactly.
Right? So,
is there anything that you find that's kind of a different class for engineering students to take?
It is.
Do engineering students struggle with any particular thing going in there?
They are amazing. And, when I sit and I listen to the business models and I listen to the pitch, I cannot tell you how proud I am of the group. I am so proud. I am so proud of the group. So what it is that the first day of class, you probably can think, oh, I'm not very creative. I'm very disciplined. I kind of think of these entrepreneurs as being very non-linear, right? And just kind of like, it's like, I don't know, and that's why I talk about the entrepreneurial mindset is every entrepreneur is different. You have these whoa, 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 kind of people, but I'm not one of them, and there's just this confidence level of being able to love what you do and have that passion. Yeah. And that's the whole fundament of being an entrepreneur is that you have to find a passion. Because if it's just transactional, you won't last very long. Because you do have to have resiliency and adaptability for this to kind of take off. Because headwinds will come. And you've already been through your first year, right? Don't tell me that you haven't had a late night or you've stressed out about homework, right?
Well, yeah.
But you're still here. You're still here. You've made it. And that's the same thing is that, as an entrepreneur, you are going to face headwinds. Yeah. But, this class is about talking about, how do you formulate the idea? I give you a template to think about it, right? And we like templates, right? Yes. But it's freedom within a framework, right? And then you get to practice. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So you would say that your class isn't just for people who are interested specifically into going into business after graduating, but also people who just want to expand their creative skills?
I would say that, yes. I mean, you do want to have some level of interest in business because it's not a creative writing class.
Right.
Right. And it's not just a kind of an ideation class. So it is focused, it is very business focused. So that element, you should have an interest there or you might be disappointed.
Right.
But it is about, could I? What does it take? What are some of the tools, some of the essentials? And can I practice? And so.
Cool.
Great. Do you have any advice for students thinking trying to decide if they want to go into industry, if they wanted to go to grad school, get an MBA? Obviously, you've gone through a lot of different
all of those
mindsets.
Yes.
Where you wanted to go. Do you have any general advice for helping people figure it out?
Yeah, and like I said before, I think that you can have a plan, but you need to be open to making lateral moves or considering other experiences if it's going to help you. And so that's the first thing is don't be so rigid. Just be open. You can still have a plan.
Yes.
But and I would want you to have a plan, but don't be so rigid that you can't see, other opportunities for you to kind of think about. I would say that trust and respect is something that's really, really important. And if you ever lose either one of those, it's not for certain that you would get it back, right? And so in that vein, as you're thinking about exploring opportunities, go out and talk to people. Go out and you're asking me to come and maybe share some of my thoughts with you today. Go out and talk to more people and investigate, right? If you have certain areas of interest. But I'm going to give you a tip because I'm not sure whether or not it's taught anywhere. So I'm just going to impart some wisdom here.
Great. Thank you.
So social media avenues, ChatGPT, all these things make it so much easier for you to be able to kind of reach out and kind of go look at, maybe identify people that you want to go talk to.
Yes.
So LinkedIn in particular, right? So as you're looking to apply for internships or jobs, I'm sure that you would probably just say, okay, well, who can I, go talk to? And a few people at UT have reached out to me that are not in my class, and they actually are seniors in other departments. And I'm just going to give you one example. I had this one person reach out to me on LinkedIn messaging. You're familiar with that, the LinkedIn messaging? And it was, "Hi, Christine." Exactly. Right? "Hi, Christine, I was interested in your, reaching out to you about this particular role because of your affiliation with this company, blah, 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 blah. And then if you could give me an advice, I'm all ears." Okay, so first of all, tell me what you hear there. You don't know me, by the way.
Yes.
You don't know me. You're just reaching out.
It's a little too casual. Not really asking, we're telling.
I'm not very specific either.
And so the key thing here is that know your audience.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a nice way to put it.
And if you are, as a student in particular, if you don't know this person, I admire, let me tell you, I admire the oomph, that you have to be able to go reach out in the first place. So applaud. Great. But know your audience. And so my question is, do you call all of your professors today by their first names?
Absolutely not.
No, right? And this person was reaching out to me because I'm a board member. Right? And so I wrote back. I wrote back and I said, I gave some advice, and then I signed it formally.
Yeah.
Right? And a few days later, this person wrote me back and said, "Hi, Christine." Oh. And then, a few other things. I'd still like to meet with you, And then I debated on whether or not I would write back. Mm-hmm. But I said, no. I can't fault this person if this person doesn't know. And I said, now I'm a professor from the same school or same university. I felt like it was on me to provide some constructive feedback, right? And so I provided the feedback, and I said, I suggest to have a more formal tone and address, and then, no. And then later on, and I said, and I signed my previous note back to you formally, but you didn't notice that. I said, but if you are interested in this area, so this person was interested in this area of study, I said, then the nuances are really important for you to be able to see, right? And I said, so there's no judgment on my part, it's just more feedback. And they were very gracious, responded and thanked me. But the next day, I got another reach out, same thing. "Hi, Christine." So this is the reason why I'm taking the time to share this with you, is that this was not an isolated incident.
Yes.
Within 1 week, I already had 2 people that reached out to me with "Hi, Christine," and very informally. And also used the ampersand instead of "and." Okay, so don't do that.
Okay. Yep.
The first impression is really important. And I will tell you that I probably won't answer anymore that use my first name.
Yeah.
And it's not because, when you're in the workforce, you probably are going to be using the first names, but you don't know me yet, and I haven't invited you to use my first name. So it's the trust and the respect that I was talking to you about before. Right. So that is a big tip, and it sounds like really small, but it's actually really big, because you can be eliminated from a lot of opportunities if you don't approach it in the right way.
Right. Yeah, that's very good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, and then to close it out, this is kind of related, but has there ever been any advice or just general philosophies? I know you have your own that we've talked about that you have been given that have really stuck with you or informed the choices that you've made in your career.
Probably to kind of push it all together, a lot of it can come down to just don't compromise what it is that you think you want. People respect that. I mean, you have to have all these different considerations, but your value system is so important to you. So what are your personal priorities? What are the things that you will do and you won't do? And be clear mentally where you draw the line.
All right. Well, thank you. This was lovely.
Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to The Communicator. If you'd like to learn more about UT's Chemical Engineering Department, then check out our other episodes. We hope to see you again. Same time, same place, different reaction.